So the kinds of paternalism break up into several categories. And the way we're going to focus on it, there's two different distinctions to be made. So the first one is about what kind of goal we're attempting to end up with by our paternalist policy. So if we're being a hard paternalist, that just means that we're trying to take away the option to do the thing that's harmful to oneself. We're trying to take away that option altogether. So in the case of drug policy, this is the option where we're just simply banning people from using the drugs. But the alternative there is to be a soft paternalist, which is to say that the state has to let people have the option to do certain things that are harmful to themselves, but that the state is justified in making sure that those are things that the person really wants to do, and that she's in a state of mind to make rational decisions and all of that. So one of the straightforward examples of soft paternalism is educational policy. We can force people to make sure that they have the basic facts about a decision they're making that could be harmful to themselves. Also along these lines, you get various sorts of licensing and and you can get other, various forms of paternalism can get increasingly close to harder paternalism. The distinction's not, sort of black or white. Now, the other distinction is between direct and indirect paternalism. And this is a distinction about who is being affected by our paternalist policy. So think about it in terms of, since we're using the criminal law, think about it in terms of who would be the defendant for violating that law. If it was a direct paternalist policy, the defendant for violating the law would be the person who we're trying to protect from harming herself. So in the case of drug policy, again, it would be the drug addict, because we'd be banning the use of the substance, if we're going to be hard paternalists, and trying to keep her from using it for harming herself. But another way we can be paternalist is by being an indirect paternalist. And that means that we are going after somebody else in order to protect a different person. So, in other words, the defendant is not the person that we're trying to protect from harming herself. So in the case of drug policy, one of the straightforward ways you can do this is by banning the sale of drugs. So we are not caring about protecting the drug dealer from hurting herself. We're caring about protecting the drug user from harming herself. And that's why indirect paternalists would go after the seller, right? Now, obviously, most policies in real life are a combination of the two. We ban both the sale and the use of drugs. So in banning the sale, we're being indirect paternalists, and banning the use, we're being direct paternalists.